Henrik Lundqvist, now in his 11th season as a New York Ranger, gets set to face one of his former backups, Chad Johnson, and the Buffalo Sabres. We welcome you to the NHL on NBCSN. 36 degrees and lots of melting snow in New York City. We come to you from inside Madison Square Garden. First meeting of the season, Rangers and Sabres. Kenny Albert with Joe Micheletti. Both teams coming off 3-0 shutout losses over the weekend. Sabres at home at the hands of the Red Wings on Friday. Rangers in Ottawa yesterday. New York Rangers, one of the top teams in the NHL over the last 4 seasons. Currently in second place in their division. Rangers representative in next weekend's All-Star game in Nashville, Joe, will be their captain, defenseman Ryan McDonagh.
Well, the head coach, Alain Vigneault, described McDonagh's play in the last 3 weeks as elite. And when you talk about McDonagh, one of the great skaters in the game that uses that skating ability to both defend and also to go on the offense. He can block shots. He can defend as well as anyone. And when he gets the opportunity, he's doing things of this nature. Now, up front, the best forward for the Rangers in the last month has been 22-year-old J.T. Miller. He is scoring. He is hitting. He is setting up plays. And he is scoring game-winning goals such as this one in overtime against Vancouver.
J.T. Miller with 4 goals in his last 5 games for the Rangers. On the other side, Buffalo Sabres well ahead of their pace from a season ago. They're playing .500 hockey on the road. And, Joe, their All-Star representative is also named Ryan. He's the Sabres' leading scorer. He used to play for the Colorado Avalanche, Ryan O'Reilly.
Well, the general manager of Buffalo, Tim Murray, made a big trade in the offseason to acquire Ryan O'Reilly, and then they signed him to a long-term contract, and he has simply been their best offensive player. He has been their best defensive player. He has been the leader. He has shown the young players how to play this game, and he's still just 24 years of age. And speaking of young players, how about 19-year-old Jack Eichel? 14 goals on the season. The coach says he could easily have 10 more because of this type of ability. He can shoot, he can skate, he can handle the puck, he can do it all.
It is Jack Eichel's first ever visit to Madison Square Garden. When we come back, Joe will visit with the 2014 U.S. Olympian and the captain of the New York Rangers, All-Star Ryan McDonagh. For the Honda starting goaltenders. For the Buffalo Sabres, ex-Ranger Chad Johnson, who has won his last 2 starts. At the other end, Henrik Lundqvist, 4th in the NHL this season with 22 victories. Chris Kreider starting to heat up with 5 points, including 3 goals over his last 5 games for the Rangers. Matt Moulson has not scored since November 1st. No goals his last 35 games. Rangers without Rick Nash tonight, missing his 2nd consecutive game. Dylan McElrath in for Dan Boyle. Dennis Girgensons returns to the Buffalo lineup. Sabres without Tyler Ennis and Sam Reinhart. Rangers start Derek Stepan between Chris Kreider and Matt Zuccarello. Evander Kane with Ryan O'Reilly and Jamie McGinn for the Sabres. Stepan and O'Reilly. We are underway for Madison Square Garden as Ristolainen moves the puck into the Ranger zone. Kane moves it in deep for Ryan O'Reilly. The Sabres leading scorer. An opportunity for Evander Kane is smothered by Lundqvist.
Well, that was quick right off the face-off. Buffalo able to get the puck in and then go to work. And this is what the head coach, Dan Bylsma, told us today. When we get it in deep and go to work, that's when we play our best hockey. Evander Kane gets to the front of the net after the good job by Ryan O'Reilly to get in quickly and force the turnover.
Face-off controlled by the Rangers. Dan Girardi clears the zone. Here's Chris Kreider down the left wing with a shot off the goal post. Off the right post behind Johnson. Zuccarello for Derek Stepan. McDonough. Now Stepan looks to get it through to Zuccarello. Blocked off by Zach Bogosian. And the Sabres clear. Here's Kane down the right side with McGinn. McGinn chips it into the corner. And now both teams look to make changes. Opening minute, first period for Madison Square Garden.
And it was a good defensive play by Dan Girardi to get his stick on that shot. And just prior to that, off the faceoff, a set play where Girardi fired it almost the length of the ice to a streaking Chris Kreider.
Mark Stahl plays the puck for the Rangers. Deflected down off Johan Larsson, so no icing. Mike Weber up the boards. Held in at the line. Jesper Fast. Johnson able to hang on with a minute 19 elapsed here in period one.
Well, we know about Chris Kreider's speed. How about the face-off win? And watch Girardi. He won't even look. He just turns and fires it to a spot off the boards, and there's Kreider, the speed, the shot, the size, and he fires that one short side just off the post as Johnson came out, and that's the type of play that they expect out of Chris Kreider. And Dan Girardi's game has gotten better since recovering from a cracked kneecap.
Joe, the Rangers hit 6 goal posts in their last home game against Vancouver. Now a steal by Victor Stalberg. Oscar Lindberg, off the stick and Chad Johnson. Penalty coming up. It's against the Sabres. Touch is made by Giunta. Rangers will have the game's first power play.
You know, Dan Bilesman talked about his team and handling the puck and making plays, and it being an issue most of the season. And it is here. Have the puck, lose it, turnover, and then this gorgeous chance. And what an opportunity for Oscar Lindberg, the rookie. Look at that gaping net. And how about the effort by Chad Johnson, the goaltender? He's had an outstanding season and saved the goal there.
What a save. Cody Franzen in the box for hooking at 132. Sabres, Joe, have killed off 19 consecutive opponent power plays, and the Rangers are just 1 for their last 31.
Most of the season, the penalty killing has been an issue for the Buffalo Sabres, but not lately. And under Dan Bilesma, when he was in Pittsburgh, his penalty killing teams were generally very strong.
Power play sponsored by Sears as Zuccarello feeds Keith Yandle on the left point. Shot gets blocked by David Legwand. And it's cleared all the way down by Rasmus Ristolainen.
One of the reasons for that penalty killing, David Legwand, who came over from Ottawa last season, and for David Legwand, they miss him in Ottawa. Their penalty killing has been poor all season.
JT Miller has the only power play goal for the Rangers over their last 12 games. Sabres come away with the puck, and Girgensons clears down. This is Tim Schaller with a shorthanded shot, turned aside by Lundqvist.
Schaller, 1 goal on the season, that one shorthanded. For the Sabres, 2 shorthanded goals on the season.
45 seconds remaining on the power play for the Rangers. Kevin Hayes for Keith Yandle. Give and go. Hayes through the crease. Ryan McDonough with a half minute to go on the Franzen penalty. Good play by Giunta to get a stick on it. Then a deflection by JT Miller just wide. On the second effort, Yandle keeps it in at the line. Kevin Hayes, far corner. Works it out to the right point to McDonough. Now across to Yandle, off his stick. Yandle keeps it alive for Miller. Final seconds of the power play for the Rangers. Miller up the boards for Hayes. Franzen out of the box. That shot hit Miller in front. And the Sabres clear. This is Franzen just out of the box. One shot got through to Johnson on that power play, Joe. Rangers 0 for 1.
And then right at the end of that, the wrist shot by Kevin Hayes hit Miller, who's hurting on the Ranger bench.
Jack Eichel on the ice for the Sabres. Johnson moves the puck into the corner. This is Daniel Paille playing in his 3rd game with the Rangers. Out for Mark Stahl. His shot blocked by Cal O'Reilly, Ryan's brother. Centering pass blocked off by Eichel. And then worked out to the point by Paille for Stahl. Dominic Moore for the Rangers. Keeps it away from Eichel. Taken to the boards by Eichel. Mike Weber on the puck for Ristolainen. 4.5 in first period. Rangers have had the game's first power play, each team with 2 shots. Long pass for McGinn. Again, looks to cut wide on McDonough. Ryan O'Reilly. Now Girardi with a soft pass ahead for Chris Kreider, and the Rangers move it through the neutral zone. Derek Stepan shoots in. Franzen leaves the puck in the corner for McGinn. Battling with Stepan. And Ryan O'Reilly will clear. McDonough for Zuccarello. Off the stick of Chad Johnson. Played by McGinn. McDonough on the pinch. Keeps the puck in the Sabres zone. Around it comes to Dylan McIlrath. Zuccarello softly into the corner for Derek Brassard. Checked away by Evander Kane. Zuccarello back on it. McIlrath keeps the puck in. Saved by Johnson. Zuccarello tries to stuff it in. Johnson extends and makes the stop.
Johnson's off to a great start for the Buffalo Sabres in goal, the former Ranger. Here's McIlrath doing a nice job keeping the puck in, and McIlrath has a good ability to get shots through. Save, and then Johnson just won't give up on the play. Zuccarello tries to go around him and can't do it. And then Hayes just earlier, this was on the power plays, he tries to slide it past Johnson, and it just goes past the skate, right along the goal line out the other way.
Chad Johnson making his first ever start at Madison Square Garden. The Rangers were the only team he had never faced. McIlrath with a shot. Score!
Right from the face-off, Rangers get control. Yandel is going to fake the shot going across, fake it, and then get it over to for the shot. And you can see Johnson looks screened. Did it hit anybody? Here's McIlrath again with the shot. Oh, yes, off the left elbow of J.T. Miller. Miller will get credit for his 5th goal in the last 6 games. Goes to the net, off the elbow. That would have gone wide, and that gives the Rangers a 1-0 lead. So Miller gets that one after being hurt on the Ranger power play after getting hit by a shot by Kevin Hayes. He was slow to get to the bench, but gets back out there and deflects that one.
Joe, J.T. Miller has scored the last 4 goals scored by Ranger forwards.
He's been their best player for a month up front. Consistent at every level.
Extending his career high, 13 goals on the shot from Dylan McIlrath. Back on the lineup. He was a healthy scratch the last 3 games.
13th of the season.
Knocked out of the neutral zone by Girgensons. And now Pesek shoots it into the Ranger zone. Kevin Clyde lost the puck. Girgensons stick handling. Gets it away from Stahl. Eichel lets it go through to Franzen. And now Stolberg back the other way for the Rangers. Franzen shoots back down. Sabres have iced the puck. Never miss a moment with the official NHL app. Get highlights, team news, and live audio, or upgrade for live out-of-market games and replays. Download the official NHL app for your favorite devices. J.T. Miller, 13th goal of the season. Dylan McIlrath and Keith Yandel, the assists at 5:58 of period 1. Face off to the left of Chad Johnson. Rangers offside. Just over 7 minutes gone. First period from Madison Square Garden. 1-0 Rangers. Upcoming games, Chicago and Carolina tomorrow. Coverage begins with NHL Live, followed by Colorado and San Jose. Then on Wednesday night rivalry, the Caps and the Flyers. Rangers with a 1-0 lead over the Sabres. JT Miller with the game's first goal. One flipped ahead into the Rangers zone by Cal O'Reilly. McElrath up the boards. Counter Glass with two Sabres back. Hessek plays the puck. 12.5 remaining first period. Shots are 5-2 in favor of the Rangers. Scheller up the right side, deflected along by Legwad, and then gathered in by Zuccarello. Chris Kreider has Derek Stepan on his right. Cutting wide on Ristolainen. Cal O'Reilly plays the puck. Ahead to McGinn, can't clear. It's knocked down by Stepan. And then held in by Zuccarello. Now the puck gets forced out. Ryan McDonough. Zuccarello around Ryan O'Reilly. And Girardi with a shot. Wide to the right of Johnson. Held in by McDonough for Zuccarello. Stepan spinning away from O'Reilly, who was in a collision with Zuccarello. Girardi with a shot deflected just wide by Kreider. O'Reilly will move it up the boards and down into the Rangers' end.
Well, you can see the Rangers very aggressive with their defense. So much of their game is dependent on the defensemen getting involved in the offense. We've seen McDonough stand up, Girardi as well on the other side.
Gionta misses the net. That shot deflected off the skate of Gionta. And the Rangers clear. Franzen on the puck for the Sabres. 11 minutes to play. First period. Puck deflects into the Rangers bench. Progressive Insurance takes you inside the glass with Joe.
Okay, Kenny, thank you. One of the things that's been very noticeable in the early part of this game is that the Rangers have really made an attempt to get to the net. We see Kreider there. Miller with the deflection here. This shot. Zuccarello tries to put it in. Johnson does a nice job there. And then the shot by McElrath that deflects off of JT Miller standing directly in front of the goaltender Johnson.
Derek Brassard with the puck. Jesper Fast out for a shot by Stahl. Saved by Johnson. He covers. Rangers head coach Alain Vigneault not very happy with his team's play yesterday in Ottawa, Joe. He said it caught me and my staff off guard.
Well, he's talked over the last period of time here, telling people our game keeps getting better and better and better, and it was climbing, and they were doing certainly some things that were at a much higher level than the month of December. But that one yesterday that they had in Ottawa, 3-0 loss, was a real stinker, and that's the one that really surprised him and the coaching staff because they played so well.
This is the Rangers' final game prior to the All-Star break. Sabres will be in action in Ottawa tomorrow. Rangers offside.
Now, the first-year head coach of the Buffalo Sabres, Dan Bilesma. It was interesting talking to him the other day, Kenny, and I asked him about taking the year off from coaching, which he did last season after spending 5 seasons in Pittsburgh and winning a Stanley Cup his first season there. He said, you know what? He said, I've gone back to the way I thought my first 2 seasons. Because we didn't make the playoffs, we didn't do well in the playoffs for 3 seasons. I changed the way I thought was the proper way to coach, and I'm going back to the old way.
Won the Stanley Cup behind the Penguins bench in 2009. Head coach of the U.S. Olympic team in Sochi 2 years ago. Saved by Lundqvist. Yandel with the puck. Miles did some television work last year, Joe.
I spent some time analyzing and watching from up high. There's an icing there. The Rangers will have to keep this group on the ice, and they'll go back down. But he did television work, and he said he really had a chance. It kind of helped him as far as coming back to coach, about the way he uses players, his utilization as players, as he talked about where, what players to start in the offensive zone, what players to start in the defensive zone. but he said it was Jacques Martin, who was a longtime head coach in the league, that told him their last season coaching together in Pittsburgh. He says, I don't know why you're changing your philosophy on coaching. You won the Stanley Cup doing it your way the first time. You should go back to doing that, and he has.
And you talk about offensive zone starts. He had Ryan O'Reilly out for this face-off, and he loves using O'Reilly on those offensive zone draws.
He said his dilemma, he says he's their best defensive player as well. So he would be the choice to win a face-off in their own zone and do the right thing defensively. But, you know, he already plays them plenty of minutes.
Dominic Blow for the Rangers. Throws one in front off the stick of Paille. Glass keeps it away from Ryan O'Reilly. Tyler Glass out to the right point, Girardi, and now McDonough. McDonough with a wrist shot. Another stop by Chad Johnson. Tonight's coach interview brought to you by Snickers. Moments ago, Joe spoke with Rangers head coach Alain Vigneault.
Coach, you talked today about expecting a different response from your team from yesterday's game. What have you seen?
Well, I think we're managing the puck a lot better. We're playing a little bit more our style. We spend a lot of time in their zone. We're controlling the puck. That's what we need to keep doing here.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Joe.
Alain Vigneault continues to move up the all-time games coach list. Tonight, Joe, he ties the late, great Pat Burns, 19th on the all-time list.
It's amazing how similar their coaching has been over the years as far as both of those players starting their coaching career in Montreal, junior hockey in Hull, Quebec.
Right, that's where Vigneault replaced Burns in Hull, and they were both 36 years of age when they were hired to coach the Montreal Canadiens. Pat Burns and Alain Vigneault as the Sabres move the puck in deep. Off the stick of Lundqvist, Molson throws one through the crease. Now it comes out to Ristolainen. The shot deflects wide. Jorgensen's pushed off by Stahl. Glider up the boards, held in by Jack Eichel. Ristolainen sends towards the net. Stahl beats Jorgensen to the puck, and Zuccarello clears. Jack Eichel, just 19 years of age out of Boston University, shot blocked by Stahl. And now Zuccarello with 8 minutes remaining in period one. We spoke to Eichel this morning, Joe. It's his first ever time inside Madison Square Garden. Said a couple of years ago with his junior hockey team, played a game in New Jersey. What they do, they took a double-decker bus tour of Manhattan. Drove by MSG.
Not a bad way to start. I guess they walked in today, he and some of the younger players, and they just looked all the way up to the rafters. At this place, Jack Eichel. Well, he played 40 games last year, Kenny, playing college hockey. This is his 49th this season. He'll get a little break after tomorrow's game in Ottawa. But, you know, this is a kid that, you know, Barry Trotz, the head coach of the Washington Capitals. When you and I talked to Barry about a week or so ago, we asked him about what he saw in Jack Eichel, and he said, you know what? He said, Mario Lemieux. He says, most young players and most players have to go to their backhand side to be strong. And he said, with Jack Eichel, he can use his speed. And we'll see that in tonight's game at some point where he goes to his forehand, holds on, and has so much strength for a 19-year-old. He's really an incredible young player that's only going to get better.
That's some pretty high praise from the head coach of the Washington Capitals. Team with the best record in the NHL. Rangers with a 1-0 lead. Evander Kane with the puck for Buffalo. Now JT Miller, who has the game's only goal. Barely lost it. Kane on the forecheck. Now it's O'Reilly off the giveaway. Franzen moving in from the point. Again, battling with Girardi and Brassard. Puck is worked out to Franzen, right point. He shoots one, inadvertently blocked in front by his teammate Kane. The Cave shot gets blocked by the stick of McDonough.
Yeah, all that pressure, Kenny, because of the good job by Evander Kane getting in quickly. Now they force the Rangers into an icing, so they're going to have to stay out there. But it was Evander Kane's just staying on JT Miller, forcing a turnover. He did get a little bit of help from Ryan O'Reilly, and they really like Evander Kane's attitude and his work ethic. Here it is again. JT Miller, he'll lose it, turn, and look at Kane right on top of him. Stays with him, forces a turnover. There's Ryan O'Reilly, and that led to all the pressure and the eventual icing, and maybe an opportunity for 5 fresh Buffalo Sabres on the ice right now for this faceoff.
Kane, at the age of 24, already playing in his 400th National Hockey League game tonight. Following the icing, Sabres made a full change. Rangers could not. Belcher 7-3 in favor of the Rangers. Now they will make a change. Bogosian with the puck for the Sabres. 6.5 to play, first period. Kenny Albert, Joe Micheletti from Madison Square Garden. Marcus Foligno with a shot, and that's sticked aside by Lundqvist. Victor Stolberg back the other way for the Rangers. Good play by Bogosian. Takes away from McElrath by Foligno. And now it is Ristolainen. We heard some good things about him this morning, Joe. Rasmus Ristolainen.
Yeah, well, they think he's just going to be an all-star. He's a kid that just turned 21, former first-round pick. He's got size, he's got determination. They say he wants to be a great player. And Dan Bilesman said he reminds him a little bit of Rob Blake.
Wow.
That's high praise. He said Blake shoots the puck better, but Ristolainen is just a sponge for coaching and wants to learn.
There's Gergensen's off the feed from Eichel. Now Molson winds it around. Pesek with a shot. That gets blocked in front by Kevin Klein. And Dominic Moore will clear the zone. Deflects down off Paille, so no icing. Eichel sends it back behind the Sabres net to Mike Weber. Good job on the forecheck by Kreider and Dominic Moore. 5 minutes remaining, first period, 1-0 Rangers. Again with a shot. Blocked aside by Lundqvist. Ryan O'Reilly knocked off the puck by Stepan. And then McCabe had it poked away from him. Waiting forward to Zuccarello. Eric Stepan for Chris Kreider. He lets it go through to Zuccarello. In deep for Kreider. Kreider looking to set up Zuccarello. Picked off by Franzen. And skated the other way by Evander Kane. McDonough stays with him. Nice defensive play.
Well, Kenny, after the good, quick start by the Rangers, the Sabres have settled down. Rangers 7 shots on goal in this period. But that's the thing about Buffalo. They're a much better structured team this season.
Puck knocked out of the air by Zuccarello, the Rangers leading goal scorer. This shot gets blocked by Bogosian. There's Scheller into the Rangers zone, but the Sabres are offside. You're watching the NHL on NBCSN.
The Rangers lead this game on a goal by that man, JT Miller. Boy, he's been busy here in the first period. We talk about his overall game. He gets hit with that shot. He was hurt. That was a power play, but he comes right back out, has that opportunity on the deflection, then again goes right back to the front of the net. And this one goes off his left arm. The shot by McElrath off the left arm of JT Miller, and that deflects in for the only goal of the game.
And on the other side, Joe, Sabres now over 99 minutes without a goal. The second lowest scoring team in the NHL this season. A deflection by Gionta. He scores! So Brian Gionta puts the Sabres on the board. We are tied at 1.
Now, this was Foligno. All Foligno wanted to do was just get the puck to the net. So right off the face-off, Buffalo wins it. Now they get moving forward. Gionta has it, gives it, goes to the net, and just gets a piece of it, and that fooled Lundqvist. Here's Foligno again. He played right wing last game, on the left wing this game, and then there's a little deflection by the 37-year-old veteran Brian Gionta, the captain of this team. He slides it, gets it past Henrik Lundqvist, and the Sabres come back to tie. Yeah, Kenny, the scoring or the lack of scoring for Buffalo has been an issue all season. Dan Bilesman, the head coach, telling us, there's been very few games where we haven't competed hard, or we haven't been in games, but they've lost a lot of one-goal games.
So on cue, Joe, just after we mentioned their scoring snide, the Sabres score their first goal in 99 minutes, 35 seconds. And it's their captain, Brian Giunta, on the deflection, his 6th goal of the season.
Maybe 99 was the operative word.
Right. Puck down, kept in the zone by Giunta. Larson battling with Oscar Lindbergh. As we approach 3 minutes on the clock, first period. Both goals coming on deflections. First JT Miller, and then Brian Giunta. Foligno and Bogosian the assists at 16-13. Joe, the Sabres have the last 4 shots of the game.
Now the Sabres are playing much better hockey. They've settled down after the Rangers got off to the quick start. They've had the puck much more often. That's an offside there. But they've done a good job getting the puck in, getting the forecheck going, moving the puck, and again, moving the puck. Dan Bilesma told us the first 30 days of camp, the moving the puck area was atrocious, and execution was something that he continues to work on with this team. And he says he just wishes they had more practice days. It's tough to get practice time with the schedule, and of course the players get a mandatory 4 more days per month off without practice.
As part of the collective bargaining agreement, Sabres' last 4 goals had been scored on the power play. They went 228 minutes without an even strength goal over 10 periods.
That's what's really surprising, isn't it, Kenny? A team that has all kinds of trouble scoring, yet they've got one of the most explosive power plays in the game.
Shot by Schaller, missed the net. Zuccarello chips the puck ahead for Kreider. Rangers with a 3-on-2. Kreider sends the puck in deep. Kessick back to play it for Buffalo. 2 minutes to go, first period. Tied at 1. Rangers and Sabres, as Lundqvist will cover the David Legwand dump in.
And so what Buffalo's been able to do is they've been able to quiet the crowd. The early part of this game, the fans here at Madison Square Garden were really into it. Of course, the Rangers were controlling the play and forcing the Sabres into turnovers, but Buffalo has settled their game down now and played a good first road period.
Face-off control by the Rangers. There's Kreider with the puck. Moves it in around Ristolainen. Stepan bumped off by Bogosian. Ryan O'Reilly, the Sabres' leading scorer. A collision in the neutral zone between Zuccarello and Kane, and then a glove save by Lundqvist.
Well, both goals in this period have come off deflections. First one, McElrath with the shot. JT Miller's in the right spot. Wasn't even looking at the puck, but it hits him in the elbow. And then Foligno with the toss of the puck towards the net. Little give and go. And Brian Giunta, the captain, boy, what a career he's had. A lot of people didn't think he'd be able to make it because of his size, and he has proven an awful lot of people wrong.
Sure has. Won a Stanley Cup with the New Jersey Devils in 2003. Scored 48 goals for the Devils 3 years later. Then moved on to the Montreal Canadiens, and now close to home. Native of Rochester, New York. As Lundqvist hangs on, 1:22 to play.
Well, and just a couple of minutes ago, there's Zuccarello and Kane. And I thought both players were looking the other way, and then right at the last minute, I think Zuccarello tries to get out of the way, actually, when he sees Kane coming, and I think both players recognize that that was more accidental than anything, and fortunately, neither player was hurt.
Face off to the right of Lundqvist. Sabres now out-shooting the Rangers 8-7. Miller with the long pass. Foss was knocked down in the neutral zone, and the Rangers will go to the power play. It'll be a trip.
Pesic looked like he stuck out his left leg as Jesper Foss was cutting across the middle of the ice, and so the Rangers will have their second power play of the game. Here it is again. You just see the left leg, knee on knee or maybe knee on thigh, and Foss goes down, and Pesic will spend some time in the penalty box with 1:13 to go in this first period.
Rangers are 0 for 1 tonight, 1 for their last 32 overall. Sabres have killed off 20 in a row.
Well, what the Rangers have talked about, and you mentioned the numbers on their power play, it hasn't been real good in the last 11 games. They've talked about just taking the shot from the point. Get the shot going first, and then make plays after that.
Deflection by Brassard and the save by Johnson, and O'Reilly cleared.
And that was a real good setup. Zuccarello threw it right to the middle, and a little deflection by Brassard, and Johnson's had a strong period.
Now here's Keith Yandel, who assisted on the Rangers' goal. Zuccarello into the Sabre zone, dropping it off for Stepan. Now Yandel straight away for Stepan. And then across, deflected through the crease by Zuccarello. Now Yandel's shot deflects, and is gloved by Johnson. He puts it down in the corner. Ristolainen, Zuccarello, battle for the puck. Rangers keep it alive. Half-minute remaining. Yandel across. Stepan will hold in at the left point. Down to 20 seconds. Rangers on their second power play. Derek Brassard with the puck for Zuccarello. Keeps it away from Legloire. Now 10 seconds. Legloire able to knock the puck out of the air. And this first period will come to an end. So the Rangers power play will continue for 47 seconds in period 2.
And right towards the end of that power play, Chris Kreider gets hit with a high stick right on the side of the net. That was Weber that caught him with the stick. It was not detected by any of the officials. And Chris Kreider stayed down for a while, looked around, and nothing was called.
So we are tied at 1 after 20 minutes. The Lexus intermission report is coming up with Catherine, Keith, and Brian. JT Miller with 5 goals in his last 6 games for the Rangers, and the Bruins taking it to the Flyers. Kreider hit the post early. Then it was Johnson making a tremendous save on Lindbergh. Miller the deflection for the Rangers, and then Gionta the same for the Sabres. Tied at 1 after 1. The NHL on NBCSN is brought to you by Lexus and their pursuit of perfection. And by Kraft Hockeyville. Nominate your local rink at crafthockeyville.com. Welcome back. Rangers and Sabres tied at 1 as we get set for the second period. Rangers will start the period on a power play as we go inside the glass with Joe.
Okay, Kenny, thanks very much. We talked about the Rangers' quick start, how they put pressure on Buffalo, but the adjustment that the Sabres made is what Dan Bilesma, their coach, told us that he's been working on. Quick puck movement in their own zone, get the puck up the ice quickly, and then get it in the opposition end. Look at this passing, right on the tape. And by doing that, making those types of plays, they were able to get out of some of the early trouble that they had in the first 5 or 6 minutes. So Dan Bilesma, the focus on handling the puck, play a fast game, moving up the ice quickly, continues to drill that to his players. And there's Pysyk, who remains in the penalty box for the Sabres.
For another 47 seconds. Rangers' second power play. Second period underway. JT Miller and Brian Gionta, the goal scorers, both on deflections in the first period as McDonough moves the puck around. Weber has it roll off his stick. Ristolainen fires up the boards, held in by Stepan for McDonough. Stepan into the slot for Sard. Now Zuccarello deflected just wide by Kreider, and then another chance. Johnson makes the stop.
Real heads-up play by Zuccarello to see Kreider over on the other side. Kreider gets a piece of it. He's number 20 in front. Here's a deflection that misses wide. He had a wide open net, misses it, and then he gets his own rebound and puts that through. But Zuccarello would rather pass than shoot. And there's a beautiful setup, and that just a miss by Kreider. As simple as that. The pass throws the goaltender Johnson momentarily, and you saw all that room on the short side. Kreider couldn't finish.
Final 20 seconds of the power play. Johnson stops McDonough. Bogosian backhands up the boards, held in by McDonough, and then across to Yandel.
As Stepan coming off the ice, slowly, hand to his face, hardly moving.
McDonough shoots, and it's blocked by Bogosian off the feed from Zuccarello. Penalty is over. That shot deflects off Kreider, out of play.
Now, while all that was going on, Derek Stepan, I mean, he just, in a very slow fashion, just cruised in front. Here's Stepan going to the front of the net. There it is, a high stick. Gets that stick up high. And again, he could hardly take a stride from that point forward. Jim Ramsey, the outstanding trainer of the New York Rangers, is attending to Derek Stepan.
He was high stick by Jake McCabe. Stepan played in his 400th NHL game yesterday. Remember, Kreider was high stick, Joe, towards the end of the first period. It was not called.
Now, both plays happened away from the puck, which is sometimes difficult to see.
So the Rangers now 0 for 2 with the man advantage. We remain tied at 1 early second period from Madison Square Garden. Rangers offside as the puck came out, brought back in by Kevin Klein.
Now, we've talked about the Ranger power play and the struggles they've had to finish. When you talk to the players, they say, you know what, we're getting looks. There's another one. That one looked like it deflected, then went off the post as Ryan McDonagh had a couple of feet on the short side. And there you see the issue that Derek Stepan has with the nose. And what is going to be an inability to breathe through the nose.
Face-off control by the Sabres. Puck deflected along by Evander Kane. No icing, so Lundqvist will play it behind the net. And now the Rangers start out. Dan Girardi into the Sabres zone. Again for Buffalo. Out of the reach of Kane. Now Kane for the puck. Hit hard by Girardi. Ryan O'Reilly knocked down by McDonagh. Shot by McGinn. Deflects out onto the stick of Victor Stalberg. With speed around Franzen. A Buffalo penalty upcoming. Rangers will go to their third power play of the game. It is a hook.
Now for Victor Stalberg, he played the month of December injured. Had trouble skating. That hasn't been the issue now. He got rest over the Christmas break, and he has just been flying and beats Franzen to the outside. You saw where Franzen put the stick right on the hands to slow him down, and New York Rangers right back on the power play.
The third of the game. Sabres have not had a power play.
Derek Stepan back on the ice for the Rangers.
With Brassard, Kreider, McDonagh, and Zuccarello. Rangers 0 for 2 with 3 power play shots. As Ristolainen clears the zone. McDonagh back to get it. McDonagh around Legwand. Pass too far for Brassard, and Weber gets it back into the Ranger zone. First meeting of the season between these clubs. Rangers and Sabres tied at 1. Here's McDonagh. And across. Dropping it off for Kreider. McDonagh to Brassard. Off the stick of Stepan and out of the zone. Brassard back in. DiPietro with the puck. Back across to Derek Brassard. Derek Stepan. Out to Brassard. Yandel with a shot. 1 minute remaining on the power play for the Rangers. Brassard to Yandel. Backs it up. And then across to Stepan. Brassard with a drive. Loose to Corral. An opportunity. A right-hand save by Chad Johnson.
Boy, a couple of great saves by Johnson. The first one was deflected. He was able to fight that off. And then the rebound comes straight down. Sabres doing a good job keeping everything to the outside. This is the long shot. There's one deflection, and then the right pad save by Johnson. Just a little setup. Brassard takes the long shot. Zuccarello there. One save. Brilliant goaltending by Johnson, who will become an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. And Tim Murray, the GM, says, you know, he said, I'm probably going to move players with expiring contracts and some of the older veterans to continue to try and rebuild this franchise, get as many assets as possible. And when you're a team that's in the lower 5 teams in the National Hockey League, the general manager is going to wait and see how things finish up before he starts signing players. So Chad Johnson, though, is proving that he belongs in the league. He's having a real good season.
Robin Leonard suffered an ankle injury on opening night. Missed 3 months as Johnson makes a glove save on Yandel. Leonard Expected to start tomorrow against his former team, the Ottawa Senators. He's played in only 4 games this year, so it's been Johnson who has taken over for the Buffalo Sabres. Chad Johnson, who began his career with the New York Rangers. He played in 6 games as a Ranger, 4 starts. We mentioned this is his first career start in this building. He played in 1 game, Joe, here at MSG in relief of Henrik Lundqvist. 2 periods against the Flyers. He allowed 3 goals, all scored by Simon Gagne.
He sure looks comfortable in this one, I'll tell you that. And let's not make any mistake about it. Robin Lehner is the goaltender they think is their goaltender of the future. You mentioned all the injuries. They failed to win a game this season.
Beautiful pass by O'Reilly. And now the Rangers back the other way. 10 seconds remaining on the Franzen penalty. Puck taken away from Hayes by Giunta, then regained by Miller. Oscar Lindberg with the puck. Off the stick of Miller. Penalty is over. Yandel spins as Franzen comes back into the play. Shot deflects wide to the right. So the Sabres have now killed off 3 Rangers power plays. Rangers had 3 shots, Joe, on that last one. Long pass. Sent in deep by Jesper Fast. Picked up by Dominic Moore.
Hey, I just think the Sabres have done a real good job on the penalty kill, getting into the shooting lanes, into the passing lanes. Their hard work.
Victor Stolberg with the puck. And now the Rangers must regroup. 4.5 in. Second period in a 1-1 game. Shots are now 13-7 Rangers. Sabres do not have a shot in the second period, thanks in large part to the 2 Ranger power plays. Dominic Moore battling with Ristolainen. Jack Bogosian grew up in upstate New York. And now Ristolainen as the Rangers go for a line change.
That's been a good pair, Kenny. Ristolainen and Bogosian. Bogosian had a serious groin injury that he injured in training camp. Missed the first 17 games and told me this morning it's just starting to feel better.
Now Kane gets knocked down. Cal O'Reilly picks up the puck, taken away from him by Derek Brassard. And then held in by the pitching Ristolainen, met by Tanner Glass. Shot by Eichel. Wide to the right as he heads off to the Sabres bench. Puck rolls off the stick of Kane. Pesek has his shot blocked by Glass. Pesek again. Johan Larsson moves the puck around. Pesek holds in. Knocked off by McDonough. And now it's Bogosian back in his own zone as both teams make changes.
I think if you're Buffalo, you got to feel pretty good about where you are in this game. 1-1 tie. You've had to kill off 3 penalties. They have not had a power play as of yet. And they're getting the goaltending when they need it.
The referee, Joe, Justin St. Pierre, got in the way of Marcus Foligno there. 1-1 from MSG. Let's take a look at our player profile with insights from SAP. Jack Eichel with 14 goals. That's 3rd among rookies. He also leads all rookies with 5 power play goals.
He hasn't had the puck much in this one yet. I think the penalties have been an issue thus far with taking Buffalo out of their 5-on-5, which they've actually been pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a scoring change in the Rangers.
Joe, you and I ran into Mike Richter earlier today, the former great Ranger goaltender. Remember when Mike Richter led Team USA to the 1996 World Cup of Hockey victory? Remember that, Joe?
Yes.
Jack Eichel was not yet born.
Yeah. He's just a kid, but you know what, boy, is he a well-spoken kid. Though at age 19. And speaking of some of those players, Mark Messier is here at the game tonight. The Rangers had a group of Pee-wees hockey players on the ice between periods. Mark Messier is helping coach that team, and they're going to that Quebec Pee-wee hockey tournament in a couple of weeks up in Quebec City.
Got by Zuccarello. Glove save made by Johnson. Jack Eichel, in case you were wondering, born in October of 1996. There's Mark.
Having fun, still full of enthusiasm. He says, you know, I said, how's that team? He said, we got a pretty good team. He said, I think we got a chance up there. And speaking of up there, those will be there forever.
There were a couple of games here earlier today. We saw Ranger trainer Jim Ramsey taking care of Darren Stepan earlier as Zuccarello misses the net. Now a shot by Yandel, kicked out by Johnson. Jim Ramsey's son played here at the Garden earlier today, Joe. Now Chris Kreider with the puck. Here's Yandel with a shot. That misses the net. Held in by Dylan McElrath. That did not make it through. Larson into the Rangers zone for Foligno, and then across. Gionta's shot deflects, and then a save by Lundqvist.
That's a good save by Lundqvist as that shot by Gionta deflected off of the stick of Keith Yandel.
Zuccarello for JT Miller. He lost the puck. And then Zuccarello gets it back. Shoots off the goalpost. Bogosian back the other way for the Sabres. 12.5 to play, second period. Tied at 1. By the way, the scoring on the Ranger goal was changed, Joe. It has been determined that it did not deflect off JT Miller, now credited to Dylan McElrath.
Really?
His second of the season.
I thought we had a pretty good replay showing it went off his arm.
I did too.
Try to ask him when we get a chance here.
So it's McElrath from Yandel and Brassard at 5:58. It certainly did look like it deflected off Miller. Lundqvist swings it around for Kevin Klein. First one to the puck is Pesek. Keeps it away from Brassard, who now takes him to the boards. Puck comes out to the left point for McDonough, and that shot deflects by. Knocked up the boards by Cal O'Reilly out of the zone. Both teams make changes. Puck deep in the Buffalo end. Played along the left wing boards by Schaller. Now Pesek gets behind his net and then leaves for McCabe. Just over 11 minutes remaining, second period. Kenny Albert, Joe Micheletti for Madison Square Garden. Rangers and Sabres tied at 1. Kevin Hayes stick handling around Weber. Off the glove of Lindbergh. And now it's Evander Kane. Cleaned on by Lindbergh. Rangers unable to hold the puck in. Here's Ryan O'Reilly back the other way. For McGinn. And then across to Kane, and his shot is sticked aside by Lundqvist. Daniel Paille for Dominic Moore. Paille, first round pick of the Sabres back in 2002. Again, for Evander Kane. Left up along the wall by McElrath, and now the puck played by Keith Yandel.
Now, Kenny, Brian Boucher and Keith Jones were talking about the Rangers not having to do much different. The Sabres, we talked about how they've done a good job after the early onslaught by the Rangers. Rangers have only given up 10 shots on goal in this game. But offensively, they've been strong.
Bergensen takes it away from Yandel. This is Eichel. Eichel puts the puck to the near side for Gergensen. Back in the lineup after missing the last 4. It goes in for Eichel. Eichel in the high slot. Stick handling away from Moore. Eichel still with the puck. Put off the skate of the official, and that allows Moore to play it ahead for Chris Kreider. And now Dominic Moore will clear. We saw some of that stick handling ability there, Joe, from Jack Eichel.
He's got tremendous hands. You think about his overall package. He can skate. He's got deceiving speed. Blazing speed, actually, when he gets going. You want him to do more of that, but he's got tremendous hands as well. There's a good little pass to the wing.
Dropped by Foligno is gloved by Lundqvist. 9:12 remaining, second period, tied at 1.
You've talked a lot about your team and all the work you've been doing as far as puck management, making the right plays. Are you happy with what you're seeing in this one?
Well, I thought you saw at the start of the game we had a few execution turnovers in the D zone. Coming out of D zone, they turned into offense and a power play for the Rangers. I think we've done a better job in the second period here, playing with the puck, shifts in the offensive zone.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you.
There's Joel McElrath, who has now been credited with the game's first goal. Certainly looked like it deflected off J.T. Miller, but perhaps it went off the stick of Ristolainen.
Yeah, Ristolainen was trying to defend.
Well, McElrath with his second of the year back in the lineup. Dan Boyle a healthy scratch tonight. Foligno with the puck for the Sabres. Turnaround shot by Larson. Just misses to the right. Fosk clears the zone. Here's Broussard for Miller. Dropping it off for Klein. His shot gets blocked by Larson. Miller with the puck for the Rangers. And now it's Larson back the other way.
This is the matchup Buffalo wants. They want the Larson line, a very good defensive line, out against Broussard to try and slow him down.
Rangers without Rick Nash tonight for the second straight game. Underwent an MRI this morning. Has a bone bruise in his leg. Should be fine after the All-Star break. That's what Alain Vigneault said prior to the game. Ranger head coach. Evander Kane lost the puck. Lindbergh for Stallberg. Two Sabres back. And now McCabe with just under 8 minutes remaining, second period. Kevin Hayes back the other way. Hayes flies it across. But could not connect with Tyler Glass.
McCabe went from making a very good defensive play in his own zone to giving it away in the neutral zone that led to that chance by Kevin Hayes.
Evander Kane with the puck off the side of the net. Ryan O'Reilly for the Sabres. Again, tied up by Dominic Moore. Moore cuts away from Kane. Up alive by O'Reilly. This is Kane with a shot right on. And the save by Lundqvist. 7:13 to go, second period. Watch every NHL on NBC game live online on mobile, tablet, and now on connected TVs with NBC Sports Live Extra. Download the app or go to NBCSports.com/Live Extra and watch the biggest events anytime, anywhere. Jack Eichel out with his line mates, Molson and Girgensons. Eichel wins the draw. Bogosian has time, fires, and a save by Lundqvist. Eichel with the puck. Out to Bogosian. Girgensons keeps it away from Stahl. He stays with him. Now Bogosian with a shot to a screen, blocked in front. Stepan has it for the Rangers. Held in along the boards by Bogosian, and now Stepan clears the zone. Ristolainen's pass picked off by Stepan. Over the stick of Zuccarello. And then taken away by Girgensons. Now Stahl settles things down. Knocked out of the air by Eichel. 6.5 to play. Second period, tied at 1. Owen McElrath and Brian Giunta with the goals. As Stahl controls now for the Rangers.
That was a good shift by Jack Eichel. Eichel did not win a face-off in the first period. Lost 3. Won a key face-off there that led to a good scoring chance.
Eric Broussard, cross-ice pass. Good defensive play made by Cal O'Reilly, Ryan's older brother by 4.5 years.
They like what Cal O'Reilly can do. If they do get a power play, they're going to try and use him on the second unit there.
Played for a brief time for Dan Bilesman in Pittsburgh. United in Buffalo. This is Cal O'Reilly with the puck. During the lockout, Joe, back in 2012-13, both O'Reilly brothers played in Russia in the KHL on a team with Evgeny Malkin and Matt Zuccarello.
Pretty good group.
And they were coached by Paul Maurice. Zuccarello has said he was mesmerized during practice sessions by Malkin. Sometimes he stopped skating, forgot to practice. because he was watching his teammate Evgeny Malkin. Turnaround shot, score! What a play! Victor Stolberg gives the Rangers a 2-1 lead.
All the good things that Buffalo had done with the puck. It goes awry here. Turnover at the red line. Now here come the Rangers before Buffalo can come back the other way. And fantastic turnaround goal by Stolberg. Good defensive play there. Weber tries to get it, but Stolberg with the reach. That is a gorgeous goal. I think they caught Johnson going down, stick off the ice. Stolberg surprises everyone with the effort, and it all starts with the turnover in the neutral zone, and the Rangers regain the lead at 2-1.
Stolberg using his long reach to beat Chad Johnson, his 7th of the season, at 14:51 of period 2.
His 7th of the season, score number 25, Victor Stolberg.
Now, Kenny Stolberg was saying he just couldn't compete. He was so hurt in the month of December. Prevented him from skating like we saw there and scoring goals.
You are watching the NHL on NBCSN.
24 in blue is Oscar Lindberg. Watch the defensive play he makes right there, stripping the puck. Now he moves it up the other way. Stolberg to Hayes. Stolberg didn't give up on the play. Instead of skating to the corner, he turned, stopped, swung around. And as Kenny mentioned, with the reach, is able to put one past Chad Johnson to give the New York Rangers a 2-1 lead.
Stolberg from Hayes and Lindberg at 14:51. Dan Girardi into the Buffalo zone. Franzen beats Glass to the puck. And now it's skated ahead by Ryan O'Reilly. 4.5 to play, second period. 2-1 Rangers. Daniel Paille moves the puck into the Sabre zone. Pesek is on it there. Paille in behind the net for Tanner Glass. And now Paille playing in his 3rd game as a Ranger, pushed off the puck by Pesek. Klein and McGinn come together. Stepan's pass deflected by Kane, carried ahead by Ryan O'Reilly. And then knocked out of the air by Stepan. 3-on-2. Stepan with a shot and a glove save by Johnson.
Well, that was another turnover as well at the Ranger blue line. And the last number of minutes here, the Rangers have been real good in the neutral zone. Turnover, here come the Rangers the other way. Good passing. Hard pass here from Kreider to Stepan. He lets it go quickly. There it is again. Knocked down on a midair by Stepan. Then a little give and go. Stepan will get the shot here. Real good save by Chad Johnson with the glove.
Joe Johnson played his collegiate hockey in Alaska Fairbanks. Victor Stolberg, who just beat Johnson for the Rangers' 2nd goal, played at the University of Vermont. They were both Hobey Baker finalists the same year in 2009. Really?
I did not know that, Kenny.
Matt Kilroy won the Hobey Baker that year. He would go on to play for the Rangers. Now a penalty. This will be the first Buffalo power play of the night, as Derek Stepan heads to the box.
Yeah, and this is an area where the Ranger penalty killing has struggled. The Buffalo power play has been very good. That's the turnover there. Jack Eichel trying to slide by along the boards, gets taken down by Derek Stepan, who is one of their top penalty killers. So he'll sit, and Buffalo with a chance late in the 2nd period to tie the game.
You talked about the Sabres' effective power play. They're 7th in the league, although they've had trouble scoring goals throughout the season. Their power play's been good.
One defenseman will be in the middle. That'll be Ristolainen. On his right side, he'll have Eichel. On the other side, he'll have Ryan O'Reilly.
O'Reilly, Kane, McGinn, Eichel, and Ristolainen. Stepan in the box for tripping Eichel at 16:37. Eichel with 5 power play goals this season. O'Reilly leading the Sabres with 7. O'Reilly with the puck, knocked off by Girardi. Kane keeps it alive over the stick of Foss, directed out by McGinn to Eichel on the right point. Eichel with a wrist shot, missing the net to the left. That came off his stick quickly, didn't it, Joe?
Oh, it sure did. Head up all the way as well. He had O'Reilly on the side.
Eichel again finding O'Reilly. Back out to Eichel. And now Ristolainen with a shot, blocked by Girardi, loose in front, knocked behind the net by Girardi. Puck comes up the boards to Ristolainen. And now Eichel. Eichel, another quick wrist shot off the crossbar. And the puck is sent out of the zone by Jesper Fast.
Boy, that time it was McGinn going to the front of the net, trying to screen Lundqvist.
45 seconds remaining on the Sabres power play as Eichel carries across. Stick handling. Leaves for Molson, who has not scored in 35 games. Puck worked out to the right point for Bogosian. And now Franzen with a shot. Lundqvist to save. Stahl keeps it away from Kyle O'Reilly. Molson takes the puck away. Klein on it for the Rangers, and he will clear.
That's a good sequence by Kevin Klein, the Ranger defenseman. He does a nice job to get Molson away from the front of the net so Lundqvist can see the shot, and then eventually clears it.
Down to 12 seconds. Here's Brassard. Bogosian gets back. Brassard with a short-handed shot. And now the puck controlled by Franzen. Here's Molson. Had it knocked off his stick. Penalty is over. Step on out of the box for Zuccarello. Sabres with one shot on the power play and an Eichel crossbar as well. Now Brassard fires, and that's blocked in front by Gianta. Puck comes out of the zone. Brassard back down the right wing. 1 minute remaining. Second period. Jump by McElrath. Stepped aside by Johnson. Puck into the netting.
Oh, Jack Eichel at times hasn't had the puck in this game because the Sabres were shorthanded. But he wins this face-off here just after he told Zach Bogosian to go place. That led to a scoring chance. And then there you see the strength of this 19-year-old. And the quick release there that goes off the crossbar. He's got McGinn in front screening. So that whole sequence, wins a face-off. You see him move the puck. You see him get the shot to the net a couple of times on that last power play, and then right at the end of the power play, Matt Molson was injured and was slow getting to the bench.
Jump by Girardi and a glove save by Johnson.
Fans, stay tuned for the Hewlett Lottery Ball race presented by
Matt Molson, the three-time 30-goal scorer with the New York Islanders. He and John Tavares were such a lethal combination.
And then was traded to Buffalo and signed a 5-year contract for $25 million. And has just had an awful year this season and has 3 more years remaining on the contract. They're really trying to get him going. They're playing him with Eichel tonight, hoping that he can get him the puck a little bit. But he scores his goals around the front of the net, and it just hasn't happened for him this season.
Puck deflects down, no icing, 25 seconds remaining in period 2. Victor Stallberg has given the New York Rangers a 2-1 lead over the Buffalo Sabres. There is Stepan with a shot. Down to 10 seconds. Klein with the puck. Klein shot gets blocked. Here comes Ryan O'Reilly. 5 seconds. Chased by Mark Stahl. Who knocks O'Reilly to the ice. Keeps O'Reilly away from the puck as the second period comes to an end. Shots are 21-15 Rangers. Teammates giving Mark Stahl a pat on the back. Discover Card Intermission Report coming up with Catherine, Keith, and Brian. Rangers creating opportunities and more puppy love in Columbus. That's all coming up during our Discover second intermission. Chris Kreider just missed. Zuccarello on the deflection, stopped by Johnson. And then Stallberg with his 7th of the season. 2-1 Rangers. The NHL on NBCSN is brought to you by Discover. Show your loyalty. Get your NHL Discover It card now. Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. We get set for the third period. There's Victor Stallberg. He gave the Rangers a 2-1 lead late in period 2, Joe.
He's been all over the ice. He's got the speed that we've talked about. He's feeling better. How about this steal here? Sets up a scoring chance, and Johnson has to make a beautiful stick save. Another one here, and then this is the goal where he helps out and just stops. It's a good lesson for young players. Instead of just turning away from the net, he stops, spins around, and uses his reach to score the go-ahead goal for the Rangers.
Third period underway, with the Rangers leading the Sabres 2-1. Ristolainen sends one wide to the left of Lundqvist.
And Kenny, we're missing a linesman to start this third period. Tony Sericolo came on the ice and face planted. His blade had broken on his skate, so he's getting it repaired.
There's Scott Cherry, the lone linesman, as we begin the third. There's Scott.
He needed help. Tony Sericolo, when he came out onto the ice, he went straight down. He tried to get up. I was keeping an eye on him. He was pushing off, falling down, and that's what the problem was. Broken skate blade, so he got a little help from his guys. That seemed to freeze into the ice. Eventually, they are able to dislodge that part of the blade, and so we start with 3 officials in this third period.
Just like the old days, although then it was 1 referee and 2 linesmen.
That worked.
We begin the third period with 3 officials. JT Miller with the puck, hit by Evander Kane. The battle continues. And now Derek Brassard comes over to help out. Kevin Klein onto the stick of Jesper Fast. In front, deflected, score! What a play! Derek Brassard the finish. 3-1 Rangers.
Jesper Fast, JT Miller. It's all the work in the corners. Forcing the turnover. Defense stays in. That's Klein to keep it alive. And then Foss eventually gets it to the front of the net. And what a finish. Here it comes again. Foss gets it in front. Goes off the skate of Brassard. And I don't think he moved his skate. He took a swipe at it with the stick. They're taking a look, and to me, it looked like it just glanced off the skate. I don't think he made any type of motion with his skate. Any type of kicking motion, which would negate it. Here it is again. Look at him. He tries to get his stick on it, turns his skate, which is legal. We saw Sidney Crosby score a goal similar to that the other night, and this one should stand as well.
It has been confirmed. 16th of the season for Brassard. That's 1 behind Zuccarello for the team lead. His second point of the game. So the Rangers score early in the third period. Now lead the Sabres 3-1.
Rangers goal is 16th of the season.
Dylan McIlrath with the puck. He was credited with the first Rangers goal.
I did talk to JT Miller, by the way. He said that puck did hit him on the first goal, even though it was changed.
As you and I both thought, McIlrath could not hold in. Sabres make a line change. Stahl back at his own end. Fast and Klein, the assists. 1:06, the time of Brassard's 16th of the season.
That was a good example, again, of the Rangers defensemen staying in the offensive zone to try and keep the play alive. Klein did a good job, and it led to a goal.
Shots are now 22-15 in favor of the Rangers. We were tied at 1 late in the second period. But goals from Victor Ståhlberg and Derek Brassard have given the Rangers a 2-goal advantage. Matt Moulson with the puck into the corner for Jack Eichel. Eichel keeps it away from Dominic Moore. Now to the left point. Shot deflected and a save by Lundqvist on the deflection by Moulson. Now Girgensons for the Sabres.
Buffalo bench wanted a penalty as Eichel was taken down in the corner. None was called.
Eichel dropping it off for Franzen. Off the skate of Girgensons. And Klein clears to center. Eichel circling. 3 minutes in, third period for Madison Square Garden. Kenny Albert, Joe Micheletti. Rangers 3, Sabres 1. Held in by Bogosian. And now McDonough moves it up the left wing for Chris Kreider. He's taken down by Schaller. Ristolainen with a shot blocked by Kreider. And it deflects out of play. Kraft is looking for the most passionate hockey community in America. Nominate your community for a chance to host an NHL preseason game plus $150,000 in arena upgrades. Nominations now open. Kraft Hockeyville, for the love of hockey.
Well, after the Rangers scored, here's Eichel, left side of your screen. Watch him get taken down there. I thought that was a miss as well. And the Buffalo bench not happy about that non-call.
There have been 4 power plays in the game. Rangers 0 for 3, Sabres 0 for 1. As Brassard backhands the puck, it deflects out of play. So another offensive zone face-off for the Sabres.
You know, if you're a Sabres fan, Kenny, and you compare what's happened with this team the prior 2 seasons to this year, they're almost near their point total from a year ago. We got Tony Saracola, by the way, back on the ice, so we have 4 officials. They've got a lot of positive things happening.
They sure do. Sabres finished with the worst record in the league each of the last 2 seasons. They've missed the playoffs the last 4 years. They played well on the road this year. 500 record away from home.
Yeah.
6 games under 500 in Buffalo.
Oh, we haven't even talked about Sam Reinhart. Reinhart season, he's out right now, but he's a real good young rookie as well.
8th in the league in scoring amongst rookies with 12 goals, 20 points.
He is the player that of all these young players that Dan Bilesma has said over the course of the last 3.5 months has made the most progress, and a lot of that is due to the work that Ryan O'Reilly is doing with Reinhart before and after practices.
Sabres are also without Tyler Ennis, their leading scorer from a season ago. Here's Eichel. Stahl defending. Stahl stays with him. Girgensons with the puck. He scores! What a shot by Zemgus Girgensons, and the Sabres pull to within 1.
Now, Jack Eichel had a little bit of time, had a little bit of space, and Mark Stahl really played him well on this. Here it is again, just a one-on-one. Eichel, little fake, through the legs. Stahl stays with him, stays with him, stays with him. Eventually, Derek Stepan goes to get it, and it just ends up in front. Let's see what Eichel does. He somehow is able to get the puck in front. And Zemgus Girgensons just back in the lineup after missing 4. Beats Lundqvist over the right shoulder. So very quickly, a quick response by Girgensons, who is a first-round draft pick from not that long ago as well. Another one of the young players.
And Girgensons, Joe, the leading vote getter last year for the All-Star game, thanks in large part to his fellow countrymen in Latvia voting online. Played in the All-Star game.
They love John Scott this year.
That's right. They love him in Latvia, right? So Girgensons with his 4th of the season at 4:31 of the 3rd period. Oscar Lindberg. Lindberg. Wide to the left of Chad Johnson. Brian Giunta back the other way. Into the Rangers zone. Blocked off by Stahl. And Hayes clears to the Buffalo line. Kevin Klein, 2 Sabres back. Rangers now with a 3-2 lead. Off the steal, Dominic Moore with a shot. Blocked in front by Pesek.
After he gave the puck away, that's a good recovery.
Here's Eichel. Girgensons heading for the net. Girgensons scores! Zemgus Girgensons does it again. 2 goals in a minute, 13 seconds. We are tied at 3.
Well, Buffalo nearly gave up the play in their own zone, and then they come out the other way. Girgensons barely stays on side. He had to drag his back foot to stay on side, and then Eichel finds him with the pass. Here's Eichel again. How about that pass to Girgensons right on the tape, and the strong move to the backhand. Lundqvist could only get a piece of it, and a quick response by the Buffalo Sabres as they've come back with 2 quick goals to tie it. Girgensons again barely stays onside.
Well, the Sabres have come back and tied the game at 3. Girgensons set up twice by Jack Eichel. Now a stuff attempt by Kane, covered by Lundqvist.
Now this is an issue that the New York Rangers have had for most of this season, where they've given up back-to-back goals quickly within a 2 or 2.5 minutes span. Now you go back to the second goal, and suddenly Eichel, not much on the first two. Watch this play with his foot. How about that? We've talked about the hands and the speed, and this time with the foot, he kicks it past Mark Stahl to Girgensons for the second goal.
2 goals, a minute 13 apart. 4th and 5th goals of the season scored by Girgensons. JT Miller winds the puck around. Girardi unable to clear. Kane for Ryan O'Reilly. Looked like he slipped on the puck. Held in at the line by Bogosian for Evander Kane. Out to the right point, Ristolainen. He gives it away. Brassard carries out 3-on-2 with Miller. Cross-ice pass, and Miller scores! 4-3 Rangers!
Miller with the finish. The shot by Foss as the Rangers get out of their own zone. Now they've got the odd man rush. Left side is Foss. This will get deflected. It goes off the stick of Zach Bogosian right to Miller on the other side. Foss with the shot. There's a deflection off the stick, and oh boy, Miller's looking at the wide open net and easily slides it in the short side. Bogosian makes a good defensive play on the 3-on-2 and gets unlucky with the result.
So the Rangers regain the lead 1 minute after the Sabres tied the game. Girgensons at 5:44, Miller at 6:44. Marcus Foligno into the Ranger zone. Giunta cutting for the net. And Giunta with a deflection off the mask of Lundqvist. Giunta scored on the deflection back in the first period. Nearly beat Lundqvist again.
A lot of this game has been real good defensive work. What's happened?
Stepan for Yandel. Stepan behind the Sabres goal. Out for a shot by Kreider, just missed. Zuccarello with the puck. Out for Yandel. Looking for the deflection from Kreider. Giunta settles things down. And now both teams will make changes. Long pass for Giunta. Running to the net with a shot is Cal O'Reilly. Another save by Lundqvist. That may have caught him in the mask as well. A wild third period here at Madison Square Garden. Rangers took a 3-1 lead early on a Derek Brassard goal. Zemgus Girgensson scored twice in a minute 13. And then it was JT Miller just a minute after the second Girgensson's goal.
Well, you're talking about high-quality scoring chances for both teams.
And now a penalty. It'll be against the Sabres. Delayed call. Touch is made by Schaller. Rangers to the power play. It is a hold. Girgensson's with a pair. And then JT Miller. Either his first or his second of the night.
Well, this was a 2-1 game going into the third period. We've seen 4 goals scored. That one by Derek Brassard made it 3-1. Girgensons comes back, not once, but twice to tie it at 3. And then JT Miller off this block shot has a wide open net on the short side. He puts it in to give the Rangers a lead. What a wild third period we're having here at Madison Square Garden.
That's J.T. Miller who scored the go-ahead goal. David Legwand in the box for holding at 8:32. 3 goals in the span of 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Eichel assisting on both Girgensons' goals. Molson an assist on the first. For Matt Molson, his first point in 19 games. And then Fost and Brassard with the assist on the Miller goal. Step on with a shot. Johnson the stop. Ristolainen plays the puck for the Sabres, and he will clear. Derek Brassard, Joe, 3 points tonight for the Rangers. Jesper Fost has a pair of assists.
Derek Brassard for the Rangers had been struggling offensively. A big breakout game for him.
He had gone the last 5 games without a point. Has 3 tonight. A goal and 2 assists. Rangers with a 4-3 lead on the power play. This is Brassard. Guard, watched by Giunta. Zuccarello, 4 step on, and then across, score! Matt Zuccarello! Power play goal, 5-3 Rangers.
You talk about a give and go. Matt Zuccarello makes a blind behind-the-back pass to the other side, right there to Stepan, and then goes to the opening and knows Stepan, who's a great passer, will get it right back to him. Beautiful pass. Zuccarello behind the back, then takes about 3 strides to put himself in a position. He says, oh yeah, you put it right in the perfect spot for me. And Johnson had no chance.
Team leading 18th goal of the season for Matt Zuccarello. The Rangers have 3 goals on 4 shots here in the 3rd period.
Well, a power play that was struggling. And again, Zuccarello is the type of player that would rather pass the puck than shoot the puck. And it was just a brilliant pass from him to Stepan, and then putting himself right back in a position. And Stepan found him for the 5th goal of this period. Still 10:32 to go, Kenny. This Buffalo team all season long has been a team that just doesn't give up.
Rangers goal is 18.
Well, they came back from a 3-1 deficit on 2 goals from Zemgus Girgensons. But the Rangers answering with 2 as well. First J.T. Miller and then Matt Zuccarello. Kevin Klein bottled up by Ryan O'Reilly. Mark Stahl knocks the puck ahead. Brassard with his 4th point of the night. The 2nd assist along with Stepan on the Zuccarello goal. Down the left wing, it's Evander Kane across to Ryan O'Reilly. McDonough back the other way for the Rangers. Kevin Hayes moves the puck in deep. Messick for McGinn. And now the Rangers back in control with 9.5 remaining. They lead the Sabres 5-3. Rangers with goals from Brassard, Miller, and Zuccarello on 4 third-period shots. There have been a combined 10 shots here in the 3rd, Joe. 5 goals have been scored. Zuccarello dropping it off. Now the return. Ryder looking for Gamble.
Kenny, I just think that the game has changed as far as the way these 2 teams have played. I mean, the odd man rushes both teams are getting. Here's an icing that puck goes back down the other end, and players are finding themselves wide open for opportunity. Here's Zuccarello. Watch his pass again. No look to the other side, and then Stepan goes right back to him. He takes 3 strides, gets himself in the lane that's wide open, and Stepan with the pass, and Zuccarello just a quick release, and Chad Johnson didn't have a chance on that one.
Rangers have been 1 for their last 34 on the power play. Zuccarello's Team-leading 5th power play goal of the season. Rangers, in case you joined us late, without Rick Nash tonight due to a bone bruise in his leg. They expect to have him back following the All-Star break. Rangers will not play again until next Tuesday against the New Jersey Devils. Blocker saved by Lundqvist, and he's waiting for the puck like an outfielder and makes the catch. 8.5 to play. Matt Zuccarello has given the Rangers a 5-3 lead on the Sabres. Are you up for football? 2 title contenders clash on the pitch. Manchester City hosts Leicester City Saturday the 6th. Sunday the 7th, soccer giants Manchester United head to London to take on Chelsea. The Premier League is on NBCSN. The last 4 goals, Joe, scored in under 5 minutes. 4 minutes, 52 seconds. 2 from Girgensons, then Miller and Zuccarello.
Now, and this is a period where we're seeing some of the skill of Jack Eichel and some of the different things he can do. You give him a little bit of time, speed, the passing, even the footwork.
2 assists. He set up Girgensons twice. Matt Weston on the score sheet for the first time in 19 games. Their line is on the ice here as the Sabres do a nice job holding the puck in. Shot by Franson, misses the net. Miller over for the Rangers. Up ahead to Bouchard, who has 4 points tonight. McCabe comes back to play the puck with 8 minutes on the clock, 3rd period. McDonough back to play for the Rangers. He will represent New York in the All-Star game next weekend in Nashville. Ryan O'Reilly is the Sabres rep. Tyler Glass with a shot and a glove save by Johnson.
Well, for 2 periods, Jack Eichel didn't have the puck much, but then he showed some of the skills that he has. How about this? Barkstall does a good job, and Eichel kicks it to the front of the net, where Girgensons puts it in, and then that little backhand soft pass to Girgensons again, just over a minute later. And that tied the game at the time at 3-3. It's now 5-3 Rangers.
Puck was caught up in the equipment of Mike Weber. Ryan O'Reilly off the stick of McGinn. 7.5 to play. 3rd period for Madison Square Garden. Final game for the Rangers prior to the All-Star break. Sabres and the Senators tomorrow night in Ottawa. Messick misses the net. Stolberg, who scored the 2nd Ranger goal. Both teams make changes, with the Rangers leading 5-3. Here comes Evander Kane. Kane with a shot and a stick save by Lundqvist.
Kane leads this Buffalo Sabres team in shots on goal. He finds ways to get shots.
Former 30-goal scorer, Evander Kane. Moves it out to the right point, Ristolainen. Schaller spun off the puck by Lindbergh, and then McElrath with a hit, knocking Legwand to the ice. Bogosian backhands to the corner. Yandel tied up by Legwand. McElrath over to play the puck. Tripped out of the zone. And Bogosian plays it for the Sabres. Knocked out of the air by Kevin Hayes. Hayes waiting for teammates. Off the stick of Ristolainen. Zuccarello keeps it alive in the Sabres zone. And a glove save by Johnson. Play continues with 6 minutes remaining here in the 3rd. Johan Larsson to center for Buffalo. On Stahl. Nice play by Kreider to carry out. Kreider for Zuccarello. Cross-ice pass, broken up by Foligno. Zuccarello with it again, shoots through the crease. Devin Klein, right point drive. Blocker saved by Johnson. McCabe for the Sabres. 3rd ahead onto the stick of Giunta. Now Foligno with a shot. Derek Brassard, who has 4 points tonight, leaving for Kevin Klein as we approach 5 minutes remaining in the third. Here's Brassard and Pesek.
And the Rangers, with the 2-goal lead, are trying to play an aggressive game. They're not falling back. They're trying to get the puck in deep, go after it. Here it is again. Dump it in. Miller's first one in.
Sabres move it back out. Ferguson shoots in. Alcaraz backed out by Molson, who takes the puck away. Molson then had to roll off his stick. Brassard knocks it back to Lundqvist. He covers with 4.5 to go. Rangers lead by 2. The NHL All-Star Weekend heads to Nashville, where hockey meets honky tonk. The biggest names and baddest skills compete in the 2016 Honda NHL All-Star Weekend. Coverage begins Friday, 8 Eastern on NBCSN. There's last year's leading vote getter. Joe, there's a 20-year-old phenom from Latvia who's taken New York City by storm. He plays basketball in this building, named Kristaps Porzingis. His fellow countryman, Zemgus Girgensons, 22 years of age, with a tremendous third period here at Madison Square Garden tonight.
Porzingis is really turning out to be quite the player for the Knicks. Zemgus Girgensons, a lot of people, when he was being drafted, described him and compared him to Patrice Bergeron of the Boston Bruins, the way he plays. And you can just see it. I don't know if he'll ever be as talented offensively as Bergeron, but the work ethic, the way he plays, his preparation for games, he has all those things.
On the ice with his line mates, Eichel and Molson. Girgensons tied the game with 2 goals, a minute 13 seconds apart early in this third period, but the Rangers came right back. Miller, a minute after the third Buffalo goal, and then Zuccarello on the power play. Rangers with a 5-3 lead. Brassard with a shot and a stick save by Johnson. Brassard has matched his career high with 4 points tonight. Ryan O'Reilly gives the puck away to Derek Brassard with 3:20 remaining. McDonough shoots the puck down. Rangers have iced it.
They caught Brassard trying to get to the bench and take a seat, but Justin St. Pierre, one of the referees, came to the bench, pointed at him, and said they're back on the ice. Brassard is winded, as you can see, and has to go back out to take the face-off. This gives Buffalo an opportunity.
Brassard now tied for the team lead with Matt Zuccarello, 35 points apiece. Jumping ahead of Rick Nash, who's missing his second straight game with a bone bruise. Underwent an MRI this morning. Got by Franzen. Hit his teammate. That's McGinn, who is down.
That was a clean face-off win. Again, Brassard loses the face-off, and McGinn, who's had a good season as well. And that shot was deflected on the way. Shot, there it goes, off the stick. Rising shot right in the side of the face of McGinn. And they're taking him straight to the Buffalo locker room. McGinn will be a free agent. He was involved in the trade that brought Ryan O'Reilly from Colorado. And McGinn's had a real solid season for the Sabres. Let's hope he's okay. Lots of blood on the ice. Dan Bilesman has had to deal with a few injuries as of late. Talked about Reinhart, their outstanding young rookie. He's still not in the lineup.
Tyler Ennis still out. Cody McCormick. Well, Wednesday night is rivalry night on NBCSN as the Flyers head to D.C. to take on Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals. Coverage of the night you love to hate begins Wednesday at 7 Eastern on NBCSN. Alex Ovechkin and some of his teammates, Joe, out having some fun in the snow during the blizzard over the weekend.
Well, they're used to that. there doing a good job to help out as well. Now the Sabres has played hard. They came back that 2-goal deficit early in the third period. It seemed at that time like the Rangers were in total control of the game. But again, the work ethic that has been instilled by Dan Bilesman and his coaching staff with the Sabres team to just not give up. And they still have work to do on their rebuild. They've made giant strides in less than a season with Tim Murray as the GM. There's still work to do, but they are certainly going in the right direction for sure.
There's Kreider down the left wing for the Rangers. Zuccarello in front of the save by Johnson, and then a second one on Stepan.
Another great pass by Zuccarello on the spin around, and Stepan couldn't finish.
Puck flipped into the Ranger zone to the right of Henrik Lundqvist. McDonough up the boards, held in by Ristolainen. Cal O'Reilly for his brother Ryan. Back out in front, and it's knocked out of trouble by Stepan. Kept alive by Cal O'Reilly. 2:20 remaining, third period. 5 goals here in the third. 3 by the Rangers, 2 by the Sabres. Johnson heading for the Buffalo bench, so the Sabres have the extra attacker on. Larson for Foligno. Puck squirts out of the zone. Ristolainen back to play it for the Sabres. Now Moore shoots for the empty net. There's Bogosian with a minute 50. Sabres trail by 2. There's Eichel for Foligno. And a pad save by Lundqvist, a minute 37 to play.
Yeah, that's something they've worked on with Foligno, just getting more shots. The early part of the season, he had single-digit shots through about the first 30 games. And they've really tried to get him to think a little bit more offensive and to hit the net, which has been a problem. So he's improved in that area and elected to take the shot there that Lundqvist was able to make the save and then hold on.
Face off to the left of Lundqvist with the Buffalo net empty. New York Rangers coming off their 3-0 loss in Ottawa yesterday. Alain Vigneault said it was a poor performance throughout the lineup. Much better here tonight as they head into the All-Star break.
He mentioned just 2 players that played well. One was Lundqvist, the goaltender, and the other one was Jesper Fast. He said other than that, no one played well.
Many heroes tonight. Battle for the puck behind the Rangers net. Comes out to the left point for Ristolainen, and then Bogosian. Bogosian with a drive, and that's turned aside by Lundqvist. 1 minute remaining. A.T. Miller and Ryan O'Reilly battle for the puck. Ferguson's with it. He has 2 goals in the period. 6 Sabres on the ice. Puck is worked free by Jack Eichel. Out to the right point. Bogosian with a drive, and that's blocked by Jesper Fast, and he clears the zone.
And now behind the play, Kane and Girardi exchanging sticks and slashes.
As the Rangers score an empty netter and lead 6-3. As the linesman, Tony Saracolo, steps in between Dan Girardi and Evander Kane.
That'll seal it with 35.2 seconds remaining. It's been a big game for that man, Derek Brassard.
A career night. 5 points, Joe, for Brassard.
Yeah, this is all towards the end. Kane first hit Girardi from behind. Girardi went back at him in front of the net. And this was all going on as that puck went into the empty net.
Game 17 of the season, scored number 16.
So Brassard with 2 goals, 3 assists. A career-high 5 points. 4 of the 5 here in the third period. Well, the New York Rangers, who led 3-1, then watched as the Sabres tied the game at 3. They'll defeat Buffalo tonight in their final game prior to the All-Star break by the score of 6-3. Sabres will head north of the border to face the Ottawa Senators tomorrow. So a much-needed bounce-back victory for the Rangers tonight. Jack Eichel, a pair of assists in his first game at Madison Square Garden. Rangers' 8th straight win over the Sabres. For Joe Micheletti and our entire crew, this is Kenny Albert saying good night as we send you back to our NHL Overtime studio. Here's Catherine Tappan.